Saltwater powered cars, a desalination of the future. Hey, I'm G. Ever driven past a saltwater lake and wondered if you could power your car with a stop at the beach? What if the ocean itself could fuel your commute, leaving no carbon footprint behind? That's where saltwater powered cars come in, a concept that blends science fiction with cutting edge innovation. In this episode of Stuff You Should Think About, we'll explore how these vehicles work, their potential to reshape transportation, and why they might or might not be the next big thing. Buckle up. Let's get one thing straight. I'm not a scientist or an engineer, but I have done my homework. My goal here isn't to pretend to be an expert, but to distill complex concepts into something digestible. If you spot a gap in my understanding, drop a comment. I'd love to learn with you. So, how do you power a car with salt water? Let's break it down. The core idea first, salt water acts as an electrolyte in a battery, facilitating the flow of ions between two electrodes. Unlike lithium ion batteries, which rely on flammable chemical compounds, saltwater batteries use saline solutions as a non toxic, abundant medium. Next, there's the battery design. Modern saltwater batteries often use zinc and manganese dioxide as electrode materials. When submerged in a saltwater electrolyte, a chemical reaction generates electricity. The process is similar to a Daniel cell, a 19th century battery design, but updated with modern materials to store more energy. Next, there's energy production. Here's the chemistry in simple terms. Zinc loses electrons, which is oxidation, at the anode, creating Zn to the second power positive ions. These ions migrate through the saltwater electrolyte to the cathode, where they react with manganese dioxide, creating zinc oxide and manganese oxide, discharging energy. During charging, the process reverses, restoring the electrodes. Next, there's the onboard system integration. In a car, saltwater batteries would replace traditional lithium ion packs. The salt water is stored in a reservoir, pumped between electrodes like a flow battery, and cycled to generate power. For extended trips, drivers could refill the saltwater tank. No need to wait for hours of recharging. Next, there's efficiency and limitations. Current prototypes, like those from companies such as zinc potassium hydroxide battery developers, store about 20% of lithium ion's capacity. That means you need a larger battery to drive the same distance, but saltwater batteries are cheaper, about 70% less in materials, and safer, with no risk of thermal runaway. Let's talk politics. Here are areas where everyone from environmentalist to industrialist can agree. First, there's environmental stewardship. Saltwater batteries produce no toxic waste and avoid the environmental toll of lithium and cobalt mining. In 2022, the U.S. Geological Survey reported that 80% of cobalt is mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo under exploitive conditions. Salt. We've got oceans to spare. Next, there's energy. Nations with coastal access, like the US, India, or Australia, could reduce reliance on foreign oil. This isn't a left or right issue, it's about securing domestic energy sources. Economic growth. Saltwater battery factories could revitalize manufacturing hubs. A 2023 Harvard study estimated that the global seawater battery market could hit 50 billion by 2035, creating millions of jobs in engineering and production. Next, there's safety and accessibility. Saltwater batteries are inherently stable, unlike lithium ion batteries that can overheat and catch fire, e.g., Boeing 787 Dreamliner issues. They pose minimum fire risk. This makes them ideal for rural or underserved communities. This concept isn't new. In 1836, John Danielsell used copper sulfate and sulfuric acid, but modern saltwater tech emerged in the 2010s. The breakthrough came when Aqueon Energy, now defunct, developed a zinc potassium battery with a saltwater electrolyte in 2013. The Clean Air Act 1970, amended in 1990, sets emission standards that saltwater vehicles would easily meet. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 offers tax credits for carbon neutral technologies. Saltwater batteries could qualify. Paris Agreement 2015. Nations aim to cut emissions may incentivize saltwater tech to meet goals. EU battery directives push for safer recyclable batteries, another check for saltwater systems. Full disclosure, I'm excited about this tech. As someone who grew up near the coast, the idea of using our planet's most abundant resource as a clean energy source feels poetic, but I'm not blind to its flaws. While saltwater batteries are safe and sustainable, they're still less energy dense than lithium ion. For now, they're better suited for short range vehicles, cities, cars, or buses, than electric trucks or sport cars. I also wonder about brine disposal. If not managed properly, runoff could harm ecosystems. But hey, innovation fixes problems. I'm optimistic. Let's rewind to the 1900s. Gasoline cars were supposed to replace electric vehicles because they had longer ranges. Today, EVs are booming. Saltwater batteries could follow a similar arc, starting as niche solutions and evolving into mainstream tech. One example is the transition from coal to oil in the 20th century faced resistance. Coal was abundant but dirty. Oil promised higher energy density. Today, we're seeing the same shift from oil to renewables. Saltwater is another step in that story. Another example is early batteries were too heavy for cars. Now, saltwater batteries are lightweight and non-flammable, addressing two major pain points. Saltwater isn't the only path to sustainable transportation. Let's compare. Lithium ion batteries, e.g., Tesla. Pros: high energy density, mature tech. Cons: resource intensive, mining, flammability. Hydrogen fuel cells, Toyota Mirai. Pros: fast refueling, long range. Cons: expensive, requires a complex production and distribution network. Solar powered cars, e.g., Lightyear 1. Pros: infinite energy source, sunlight. Cons: heavy, limited performance in cloudy regions. Saltwater batteries. Pros: cheap, safe, abundant. Cons: lower energy density. The beauty of competition is that it drives innovation. Maybe saltwater batteries pair with solar panels to create hybrid systems or complement hydrogen in fleet vehicles. Either way, diversity in solutions is the key. Saltwater powered cars are a blend of practicality and promise. They leverage a resource we've taken for granted to create safe, sustainable energy storage. While they're not yet ready to power our Tesla like dreams, they could revolutionize public transit, last mile delivery, and rural transport. Their success hinges on improving energy density and building infrastructure to recycle and refill saltwater tanks. Yet, they're just one piece of a larger puzzle. Whether through batteries, hydrogen, solar, or a mix of all, the goal is clear: reduce our carbon footprint and dependency on finite resources. That's it for this episode of The Stuff You Should Think About. Thanks for listening. If you found this dive into saltwater cars eye-opening, hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Drop a comment with a topic you'd like me to explore next, maybe hydrogen cars or the future of roads. Stay curious and keep asking, what if? This blog is for informational purposes only. Statements are based on current understanding and public information.